In this evening's Untold Atlanta, Matt Pearl is tackling a subject that has become controversial around the country, particularly relevant, though, in our city, and we're talking about DACA.
That's right. You know, if you tally the number of immigrants in Atlanta here legally now, thanks to DACA, you would find a town as large as Fayetteville, Sewanee, or Conyers. But it's a subject that so often becomes caught up in rhetoric, so we decided to remove the rhetoric and take you into the life of one recipient. In the shadow of the city, on its most diverse stretch.
Buford Highway is the platform that many immigrants come to when they first arrive to this country.
Stand the products of one brush.
Okay, there we are.
Roberto Hernandez is 6 feet tall, painting a mural 20 yards wide.
From up close, everything may seem fine. If you don't step back from it, that may change the entire image. Hola.
Hernandez wishes a similar approach to others. About a matter with much higher stakes.
Do you feel that if your status was to expire, you'd be one pullover away from possibly getting deported?
Yes, absolutely.
His status is DACA.
This is a temporary stopgap measure.
The Deferred Action for Child Arrivals program came through President Obama in 2012. It protects from deportation certain immigrants who came to America illegally as minors. Hernandez arrived at age 10.
I went to a Catholic school in Mexico.
Why did your mother have to leave the country?
I didn't know at the time. But when I was 21 years old, after I graduated from college here, my mother told me that she was kidnapped. That happened quite often in Mexico when people wanted to extortion you.
His mother moved first, legally, Hernandez says, with a permanent business visa. She could not secure one for her kids. Hernandez lived in the U.S. for years illegally, then gained protection through DACA.
I felt excited. Many different things happened that allowed me to be the artist that I am today. You know, one is DACA, the other one is living in Atlanta.
Hernandez is one of nearly 16,000 DACA residents in Metro Atlanta. Virtually every recent poll shows most Americans support it.
It's about us.
But 60 million Americans voted in President Trump, who campaigned on cracking down on illegal immigration.
And now people are taking advantage of DACA.
Trump tried to end DACA last year, but was blocked by the courts. Under his direction, removals by ICE of non-criminal illegal immigrants doubled last fiscal year. Arrests of such immigrants quadrupled. We requested an interview with ICE's Atlanta field manager Sean Gallagher. The agency said no. Hernandez has built a life in Atlanta in spite of uncertainty. He manages a family restaurant at Plaza Fiesta, a restaurant they'd lose if he loses DACA. He has won awards as a makeup artist and body painter, and he has airbrushed murals all across Buford Highway, including
this piece is very personal to me.
His latest.
All the different hands represent the different members of the community.
Hernandez painted it as protest, as part of a Living Walls exhibition of immigrant art.
For a very, very, very long time, I didn't even tell anyone that I'm a DACA recipient. I feel like I have a responsibility to now tell my story for those who can't.
Hernandez believes his story will allow those who view DACA as politics to step back and understand its people. Mostly, he prefers to work rather than worry, to let his brush leave a legacy.
Colors are so vibrant. They will stay like this for a very, very long time, even after I'm no longer here.
Hernandez's DACA permit expires next spring, right around when the Supreme Court may potentially decide on President Trump's order to end DACA. That is, if the case makes it up to that court. The president and Congress have been debating this act for months, trying to strike a permanent deal as part of a larger immigration deal. But last week, the president tweeted in all caps, "No more DACA deals." So still a lot of uncertainty, and folks like Roberto Hernandez kind of staying in limbo.
And I respect his decision to talk publicly about it. That takes some courage. He didn't do that for a long time, but it's important to let people understand it on a personal level, and he's willing to give us all the opportunity to do that by sharing his story.
Yeah, no matter where you fall on the debate, it certainly always is important, I think, to see multiple perspectives.
Sure.
And he was saying how many people he knows just decided to go back to Mexico rather than deal with the uncertainty all the time. But his feeling is he left a far worse existence in Mexico than what he has now. Even though there's uncertainty here in America, it still beats what he faced back home when he was much younger.
All right, important story. Thank you, Matt Pearl, as always. If you have an untold Atlanta idea, please let Matt know about it.